come in, when are we doing this? And then I want to introduce and thank my co-moderators, Judge Corinne Chronicle, Keith Halloran, Joe Pargola. I sort of, back then, I didn't really know any of them very well, but heard they were attorneys as well, and sent out a message, and would you guys be interested in typical Holy Trinity family? Yes, absolutely. What do we need to do? So they've been with me throughout it all. I especially thank them this year. I've had a rough January, and I never had to worry. I knew it was in very good hands. Never worried about mock trial. Three of the best attorneys I know and really good people, so thank you. To the parents, well, let me first introduce, welcome the sixth graders. Today, I hope you do mock trial next year. Students, thank you for doing this. This is the biggest mock trial club yet. But that brings me to my last point is, this is not about a play or them reading scripts. Like, we meet 5 times. This is our 6th time. First 2 times we talk about how to become a lawyer, law school, why we all became lawyers, what you can do with a law degree. The second time we watch some video clips, talk about trial procedure, openings, closings, kind of educate a little bit, and then we hand them a fact pattern, and it's on them. And again, I sound like Mrs. McDowell when I say this, but when, at Angel Pageant, when she used to say, this is your best check. When I see these kids work, you guys, this check is worth it. They are very smart kids, they're very analytical, and they have to do all the work. They are the ones that go through the fact patterns, compare it to the law, write up their cross or their direct, or their opening. So you should be proud. I'm very proud of them. A few things with trials. They're not as glamorous as TV. There's never an aha moment like that. There's pauses. And I want to make sure you guys know, if you want to take a time out, talk to each other as a team, that is what happens in a trial. So don't think parents are thinking, oh no, they forgot what they're doing. You are here to prove your case. And there are pauses in trials, so please be sure to do that. This was a very challenging fact pattern for them. Usually, it's maybe a paragraph per witness. This fact pattern was 2-3 pages of facts. So we did challenge them, and I'm excited to see how they present their cases. I will turn it over to Judge Chronicle.
So I'm just gonna go get my robot and my unless there's anything else.
Just remember, loud and proud,
yes,
especially with the jury in the back.
Have a seat, thank you. Here, the jury, to act as the jury in this case. I realize jury service may be new to you, so I'm going to some information. You are the judges of the facts. You will listen to the witnesses, and at the end of the case, you will determine what facts have been proven and what has not been proven. I am the judge of the law. In addition to regulating the trial at the end of the case, I will tell you what the law is. You must accept the law as I tell it to you, whether you agree with it or not, and you must apply that law to the facts as you find them to be in order to reach your verdict. In a civil case such as this, a unanimous verdict is not required. There's a majority. The burden of proof is on the plaintiff to prove the claim by a preponderance of the evidence, meaning that the evidence supporting the claim must weigh heavier and be more persuasive in your mind than the contrary evidence. In other words, the plaintiff's evidence must be just a little bit better than the defendant's evidence. If you find that the evidence is equally balanced, then the plaintiff is not entitled to your favorable decision. Now I'm going to ask just the jury to please stand and raise your right hand. And repeat after me. I state your name.
I state your name.
Do solemnly promise.
Do solemnly promise.
That I will listen to the evidence of the case.
That I will listen to the evidence of the case.
With an open mind.
With an open mind.
Without prejudice or favoritism.
Without prejudice or favoritism.
And apply the law.
And apply the law.
As it is given by the judge.
As it is given by the judge.
In reaching a fair and and just verdict.
And just verdict.
Okay, you can have a seat. Okay, the attorneys will now take the floor. They're going to explain their positions and what they think the evidence will show. Remember that what the attorneys say in these opening statements is not evidence. Also, what they say in their concluding arguments is not evidence. The evidence on which you must decide the case will come from the testimony of the witnesses. Plaintiff, are you ready for your opening statements?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Welfare of its students, it only cares about keeping its money. The students at Abraham Lincoln High School have been struggling to find opportunities because of underfunding, while the students at Jefferson High have been prospering, even though they are neighboring schools. This directly goes against the Brown versus Board of Education case, where the Supreme Court stated that the separate facilities are inherently unequal. It also goes against the New Jersey State Constitution, which guarantees a thorough and efficient system of free public schools. Today, you will hear from Abigail Hernandez, a student from Lincoln High School with a dream to save lives. But because of underfunding, it will be much more difficult for him to achieve this dream. You will also hear from the president of the Board of Education in Lincoln. She will explain how underfunded Lincoln High School is to Jefferson High, and how the funding barely covers any of the needs of maintenance. The defendants may imply that Brown versus Board of Education is simply about racial inequality, but this is simply a distraction from the truth. The truth is, you cannot have equal facilities without equal funding. We are trying to create equal learning opportunities for all students. We are asking you to help these students by ruling in their favor, by sharing part of the huge budget that Jefferson has, or by merging these two schools, giving them the opportunity to go to Jefferson when space is available. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, let's not repeat history. Let's help create a future where all students, no matter how much money their parents make, can fulfill their dreams. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Defense, are you ready for your opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor. Today you will hear some inspirational stories. You'll hear about a father who works 2 jobs and still barely makes ends meet. A student who was given the opportunity to go to college with a scholarship because of her academic levels. A mother who also works 2 jobs and specifically chose to live in this area just for education. And an athlete at Jefferson High School who puts endless amounts of effort and dedication into her work. If this lawsuit goes through, this will all be taken away, and all of their work will be useless. Abraham Lincoln High School wants to take away from what we have, not because of anything we did, but because of where we live. Thank you, Your Honor.
Plaintiff, please call your first witness. What's your name?
My name is Abigail Hernandez.
Okay, Miguel, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. Please place your left hand on that book right there. Do you swear any testimony you're about to give is the full truth to help you God?
Yes.
Please have a seat.
Please introduce yourself to the jury. My name is Miguel Hernandez. What school do you attend? I go to Abraham Lincoln High School. In what grade? I'm a junior.
Just remember to keep your voice up, too.
After high school, do you want to attend college? Yes, I wish to attend college and become a pre-med student to eventually become a doctor.
Let's talk about the laboratory facilities at your school. How is the laboratory in your school for the biology and chemistry classes?
We only have one beaten-up old laboratory, which is not state-of-the-art.
How is this different from the laboratories at Thomas Jefferson High School?
At Thomas Jefferson, they have several beautiful laboratories.
You also have less advanced placement courses available in chemistry and physics than you should, right?
Yes, I do not have as much as the Jefferson students.
This is a problem because the students at Thomas Jefferson High School have better advanced placement and honor classes on their resumes when they apply to college, right?
Yes, this will result in me having less qualified resume when applying to colleges that the kids at Thomas Jefferson will also be applying to.
A lot of your teachers have left just this year, including your guidance counselor and your biology teacher. The reason for this is,
Well, they love to go to schools with better pay conditions, such as Thomas Jefferson.
Because of this reasoning, you are getting a worse education with teachers constantly coming in and out of the school. Another reason that your teachers leaving is a bad reason is because of your college recommendations. This is a big problem. Why?
Both of my teachers who just left this year would have given me great college recommendations. But if I get a new teacher, they won't know me as well. So they can't give me the college recommendations I deserve.
Let's talk about the computer situation at your school compared to Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson has several computers in every one of their classrooms, and some children even have their own personal computers. How is this different from your school?
We do not even have one computer in one classroom. I have also been rejected from the National High School Honor Society because I did not have access to type my application.
In 1954, the United States Supreme Court ruled that separate but equal schools are illegal because separate educational facilities are inherently unequal. Do you believe that Lincoln High School is unequal when compared to Jefferson High?
Yes, I'm being denied the equal protection of the law, which was the basis of the Brown versus Board of Education.
Along the lines of the backgrounds of the students that attend Abraham Lincoln High, most of the students do not come from wealthy backgrounds, unlike the students at Thomas Jefferson High, who are often children of doctors, lawyers, and business people. Has this made a big impact on you?
They have enough advantages. They should not also have a high school that has better facilities, more course offerings, and better teachers than ours.
This injustice and unequal situation is still occurring 50 years after Brown versus the Board of Education was formed, and therefore is wrong for the situation to still occur. Overall, there's only one fair and equal compromise to this problem. What is this for you?
I should be able to attend any school in the country where I live, whether or not it is mostly white. Many of the wealthy schools in the suburbs would fit my needs and help out my future goals and dreams in my life. Also, Brown versus Board of Education will not accomplish much if we are commended to the schools with less resources. Thank you.
Thank you, that is all.
Nope, you're not done. Defense, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes.
Okay, you can come on up. I just ask you again, make sure you're keeping your voices up.
Are you aware of the racial makeup of Thomas Jefferson High School?
Yes.
Would it be a surprise to you if the top students were people of color or Hispanic or Asian backgrounds?
Yes.
And would it be a surprise to you if the president of Thomas Jefferson High School was also a person of Asian, Hispanic, or people of color?
Yes.
Let's move on to why you presented this lawsuit. Isn't it true that you want to take money from Jefferson High School and give it to Lincoln's budget?
Yes.
And wouldn't that be taking away from the students at Jefferson High School who have done nothing to provoke this problem?
True.
And you're a really good student, aren't you?
Yes.
And you plan to become a doctor?
Yes.
And you're gonna try to do that no matter what, and you're gonna try very hard, and you just want to become a doctor, correct?
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what school you go to, you just need to try very, very hard, and you need to get the best grades if you want to get into the college you want, not because of what school you go to or what your classes are. No further questions.
Leah, do you have any redirect? Okay. Okay, Miguel, you can step down. Plaintiff, do you have any other witnesses at this time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Who are you calling?
I'm calling.
Is it Muriel Carver?
Yes,
That's who
I'm
you have on your
calling
list.
Muriel
All right. Okay, Ms. Carver. Before you have a seat, I'm just going to ask you to raise your right hand. Place your left hand on that book right there. Do you swear any testimony you're about to give us the full truth to help you God?
Yes.
While you're in there, if you want, you can take your mask down. Either way, I'm just going to ask you both again. Please keep your voice up. You can have a seat.
What is your name?
My name is Muriel Carver.
What is your connection to the Lincoln High School?
I'm a president of Board of Education.
Can you explain to us how much money the state gives to your school?
We obtained $8,000 per student so we can.
Alright, how else do you get money?
Yeah, so the remainder of the money must come from our local budget, which is supported by local taxes. And from local taxes, we provide $2,000 for each student at Lincoln High, with a total of $10,000 per student.
Okay, what advantages does Jefferson High School have in terms of getting income?
On Jefferson High School, the school board is able to use $4,000 per student of tax money for its high school, which means that there's $12,000 to spend for every student at Jefferson High. And Jefferson has a successful bond issue, on the other hand, which we do not.
Okay, please explain how the difficulty of Thomas Jefferson High School having more income has been an ongoing problem for Lincoln.
So, for Lincoln High, we do capital improvements, new classrooms, new rooms, and new laboratory equipment, and we don't have enough money to raise these issues. And as long as Jefferson has more money than us for our schools, it's better than ours, and parents who can afford to go to that school will do so, which means that we're losing students.
That's all I have.
Defense, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Is it true that Jefferson charges higher taxes to fund their school? Is it true that Lincoln charges lower taxes than Jefferson?
Yes.
Is it true that Jefferson has gotten several bond issues in the last decade?
Yes.
How many has Lincoln gotten?
Lincoln has not had significant progress for it, so they have had
Is it true that Jefferson is in the place they are by no fault of their own?
yes.
And is it the fault of Jefferson that Lincoln High School is in the place that they are currently?
Yes.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Plaintiff, do you have any redirect at this time for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Would you agree that Lincoln High School does not have as many successful bond issues as Jefferson High School does?
Yes.
All right. And just so that we're all clear, how much money per student does Lincoln High School get?
Lincoln High School gets $8,000 per student.
And the taxes?
The taxes are $2,000.
Okay, so that's $10,000 per student. And you said that Jefferson High School gets $12,000 per student.
Yes.
All right, so obviously $12,000 is more than $10,000. That's all.
Okay, Ms. Carver, you can step down. Thank you. Plaintiff, do you have any other witnesses that you'd like to call at this time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm just gonna ask that you raise your right hand, place your left hand on that book. Do you swear any testimony you're about to give is the full truth to help you God? Okay, you can have a seat. While you're in there, you can take your mask down. I'm just gonna remind you to, once again, keep your voices up, please.
What is your name?
My name is Doris Simone.
Doris Simone. What school do you go to?
I go to Abraham Lincoln High.
And what is your position at Abraham Lincoln?
I'm a high school junior.
What are you planning to achieve in the future?
I'm planning to become a lawyer in the future and potentially the first
your resources at your school?
There's a low tax income, that's the reason why, and also teachers aren't willing to work on weekends. I guess it's that.
Do you believe that Lincoln students should be able to attend Jefferson if there are open spots?
Yes, as long as they're able to work hard enough and get good grades.
And what did you do to try to help your problem of low taxes?
I tried to set up a pre-law and debate club in order to get some more lawyer experience. I've also put in the work. I've tried to set up some big sales and car washes, but teachers aren't willing to help me on the weekends, as I just stated, and so it hasn't really been paid off.
Defense, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Is it true that you want equal opportunity for both schools? Do you think it is fair that you have a job that pays you $100,000 per year, and someone else has a job that pays $50,000? Would you be comfortable with giving them $25,000 for your paycheck? No? So then it shouldn't surprise you, but it's not fair to take away from Jefferson High School, now should it? It surprises you?
No.
No further questions.
Plaintiff, do you have any redirect for this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Simone, you can step down. Plaintiff, do you have any further witnesses at this time?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so you're resting.
Yes.
Okay. Defense, do you have any witnesses to call at this time?
Yes, Your Honor. The defense calls Jessica Thompson.
Ms. Thompson, please raise your right hand, place your left hand on that book. Do you swear any testimony you're about to give is the full truth to help you God? Please have a seat. I would just ask again, please keep your voices up.
Please introduce yourself to the jury.
I am Jessica Thompson.
Where do you currently attend school?
I'm currently a junior at Thomas Jefferson High School.
Do you participate in any extracurricular activities or sports there?
Yes, I've been elected to be team captain for wrestling and football teams next year.
How would you be affected if the plaintiff won this lawsuit?
Losing the extracurricular activities would be a huge blow. My parents specifically moved to this area so I would be able to come to Jefferson High School. If I lose these sports teams, I won't have a chance to earn a scholarship to Rutgers College.
Do you believe your school is racially diverse?
Yes. Currently, in our school, our top student is African American in our representation. Our class representative is Hispanic, and I took a picture of some students not too long ago.
I'm going to show you evidence marked D1. Do you recognize this photo?
Yes.
Did you take this photo?
Yes.
Yes, will you please pull it up? What is exhibited in this photo?
These are some students I gathered around to take a picture of in our school.
How do you feel about the lawsuit?
I feel like this lawsuit is very wrong. I don't feel that it's fair to take away from our students and our school in order to give to another. My parents worked too hard to move to this area, and it's too bad for it to happen right now.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Plaintiff, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Is it true that Jefferson High has opportunities for students to participate in extracurricular activities?
Yes.
Is it true that your parents believe Jefferson High to be the best high school in the state?
Yes.
Okay. And you are trying to get an athletic scholarship to Rutgers, correct? Isn't it true that you said you're one of the best athletes and you've been elected captain of the football and wrestling teams?
Yes.
Do you want that picture again?
Put the picture back up, yes. Miss Thompson, from looking at this picture, can you tell how much money the kids' parents make?
No.
That's all, Your Honor.
Defense, do you have any redirect for this witness?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, you can step down, thank you. Please call your next witness.
The defense calls Patricia O'Reilly to the stand.
Okay, Ms. O'Reilly, before you have a seat, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand, place your left hand on that book. Do you swear any testimony you're about to give is the full truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, you have a seat. While you're in there, you can pull your mask down. Again, please keep your voices up.
Please state your names to the jury. What do you do?
I'm in the music program.
Where do you go to school?
I go to school at Thomas Jefferson High School.
What are your interests?
Well, I love music and I have all my life, and I want to be a professional musician and go to a good college.
Is there anything you were involved in at Jefferson High School?
Yes, I'm in the music program at the school.
How long have you been involved in music?
I've been playing piano since I was 6 years old, and my dad has been paying for everything. And
Is Thomas Jefferson High School known for its music department?
yes, it is.
Are you aware of the circumstances that are brought here today?
Yes, I'm aware that Abraham Lincoln School might take funds from our after-school curriculum.
Do you know what would happen if the lawsuit were to be successful?
Yes, some of the after-school programs will be taken.
How will losing these things affect you?
Losing these funds will affect me because I'm in the music program, like I said before, and my dad already works 2 jobs to pay for the lessons and school, but getting a scholarship is my only goal for college.
So would you be able to afford college?
Like I said before, I'm not happy with college.
Are you aware that one of the central arguments on both sides of the case is Brown versus Board of Education?
Yes, ma'am.
What does it mean to you?
Brown versus Board of Education, it was not about destroying dreams, it was about giving students like me the opportunity to achieve them.
No further questions.
Leah, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes, Sean. Isn't it true that you want to become a professional musician and concert pianist?
Yes.
Isn't it true that your father has to work multiple jobs just for you to go to Jefferson High and take piano lessons?
Yes.
You have been taking piano lessons since you were 6.
Yes.
Isn't it true that you have won several local and statewide musical competitions that have drawn the attention of a major music academy in New York City?
Yes.
Is there any reason to believe that you will not graduate from Thomas Jefferson High School even if there was a religion?
Defense, do you have any redirect for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
So even though you've won all these awards at Thomas Jefferson High School and your dad has worked various jobs for this, would it really impact your ability to go to college? No further questions.
Okay, Ms. O'Reilly, you can have a seat. Thank you. Defense, please call your next witness.
The defense calls Barbara Jones to the stand.
Okay, Ms. Jones, before you have a seat, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand, place your left hand on that book. Do you swear any testimony you are about to give is the full truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Please have a seat. Again, just make sure you keep your voices up.
Could you please state your name to the jury? Barbara Jones. How have you been made aware to the problem of this case? From my children who attend Jefferson High School. Do your children participate in any extracurricular activities at Jefferson High School? Yes, they are in the school band. Is it expensive living in the Jefferson School District? Yes. How have you been affording to live here? I work multiple jobs just so my children can get the best education possible. How would it affect you and your children if the Lincoln kids came to Jefferson and took money or spots away from other Jefferson students? I would be completely enraged because me and my children have worked very hard to get into spots such as the school band. If anyone from Lincoln just took those spots without any true hard work in getting those special places, I would be completely enraged. If they want to get those spots, they have to work as hard as me and my children did so. How do you feel about the claims being a racial problem for this? I am completely against it. Just because there could be more whites in Jefferson High School does not immediately mean it is a racial factor. Overall, how do you feel about this whole lawsuit presented by the plaintiff? I think it is unfair how Lincoln High School is attempting to take away money and anything else from Jefferson High School. No further questions.
Leah, do you have any questions for this witness?
Yes,
that students from Lincoln should not go to Jefferson?
Yes.
And you are 100% opposed to this?
Yes.
And do you believe your children will be disadvantaged if kids from Lincoln, some of whose parents also work two jobs, are able to attend Jefferson High School?
Yes.
No further questions.
Defense, do you have any redirect for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Jones, do you think it's Do you think if the other families at Lincoln High School worked as hard as you, even if they have to work another job, do you think they could get into Jefferson High School just the way you did? Yes. No further.
Okay, Ms. Jones, you can step down. Thank you. Defense, do you have any other witnesses at this time?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so are you resting?
On your feet. The defense rests.
Okay. Plaintiff, now would be the time for your closing statement if you have one.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, as you have heard from the evidence and testimonies presented, Abraham Lincoln High School doesn't have the resources to provide its students with the education they deserve. As you heard Abraham Lincoln student Miguel Hernandez testify, his goal is to become a doctor. As he is a superb student, wouldn't it be a shame if the lack of resources available at Lincoln were to make it impossible for him to reach his goal? Unlike Thomas Jefferson, where they have beautiful laboratories, Abraham Lincoln High School has only one beaten-up old lab, which is not state-of-the-art at all. Further, Abraham Lincoln offers less AP and honors classes and loses many good teachers because it cannot afford to pay them as much as other districts. Wouldn't it be upsetting if the lack of good facilities, honors and AP courses, and adequate teachers kept Miguel from reaching his dreams? You also heard from another student at Abraham Lincoln High, Zora Simone, who wants to be a successful lawyer and hopefully a Supreme Court justice when he gets older. He testified that there may be only 6 working computers in the entire school, and even those have extremely slow internet access because of the inferior internet at Abraham Lincoln High. Zora also testified that students at Thomas Jefferson High School are all given graphing calculators, which will give them an advantage on the SAT test. Wouldn't it be sad if Zora was kept from his dream of being a lawyer and Supreme Court justice because his school lacks the assets to provide him with technology that will allow him to be competitive with kids from other schools, like Thomas Jefferson? You also heard from Muriel Carver, the president of Abraham Lincoln Board of Education. She testified that the town of Jefferson is able to use $4,000 of tax money per student for its high school, as opposed to $2,000 per student that Lincoln is able to provide for its high school. That is double the amount. She also testified that New Jersey schools raise money through bond issues when they need to make capital improvements, such as new classrooms and buildings. Jefferson has had several bond issues in the past decade to give it new and improved buildings and equipment. Unfortunately, Lincoln has not been able to do this, and as a result, has not been able to construct new buildings or improve standing buildings. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to ask you to fix this injustice. When you go back to deliberate, we ask that you come back with a verdict for the plaintiff. We are requesting either that you, 1, take money from Thomas Jefferson's budget and transfer it to Abraham Lincoln so that the 2 schools are equal, or 2, we ask that you allow Miguel and any other students at Lincoln that want to attend Thomas Jefferson High School or another appropriate school in the county. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, and we are confident that you will make the right and just decision.
Defense, time for your closing.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Patricia O'Reilly. I want you to remember that name. Her dad works 2 jobs and can still barely make ends meet.
She worked so hard to have the level of talent and intelligence that she does today. She was given the opportunity to obtain a scholarship to college. That scholarship will be taken away if this lawsuit goes through. Not because of something she did, but because of where she lives. You heard from Barbara Jones, a mother. Her children go to Thomas Jefferson. She, along with Patricia O'Reilly's father and many other parents at Jefferson, work 2 jobs. Mrs. Jones picked this area specifically for the education. She tried her hardest to get to where she is. It would be devastating if all her hard, good work would be taken away. Jessica Thompson. Jessica is a junior at Jefferson and is one of the best athletes here. After all the tireless work and dedication, it will mean nothing. Her chance at a scholarship will be ruined and her passions would be taken away. That is what Abraham Lincoln High School is doing here. They are taking from the town, from the families, the students, and their education, their lives, their dreams. Equality and equity is what this is all about. You have heard from previous statements that if this lawsuit goes through, people's lives will be destroyed. Let's think about what they are asking for. Some new computers, a new laboratory maybe, but what they are really asking for is the end of children's careers and dreams. You will hear from the judge that the plaintiff has to prove that the students at Abraham Lincoln are not getting an acceptable education due to the thorough and efficient education clause, or they have to prove that the education Lincoln is getting is violating the 14th Amendment because of inequality due to race. In this case, they have failed to prove either of these. As Patricia O'Reilly said, Brown versus Board of Education was not about destroying dreams. It was about giving students like her the opportunity to achieve them. As Miguel Hernandez had made it very clear to all of us, Abraham Lincoln did not know the racial makeup of Jefferson. This is clearly not a case of separate but equal due to the true racial makeup of Jefferson. The top student here is African American and the second best student is Asian, along with the president being Hispanic. Why should it be that the responsibility of improving schools falls into the tired shoulders of families here at Jefferson? Even Lincoln's own student, Zora Simone, admitted it was unfair to take money from Jefferson to give it to Lincoln. There is no evidence to prove that we did something wrong, so why should we pay the price? As you previously heard, Muriel Carver, the president of Board of Education at Lincoln High School, said that Jefferson's success was no fault of their own in Lincoln's situation. It is now up to you, the jury, to decide what is fair. Do you think it is fair to take away hard-earned opportunities and to destroy children's dreams? Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the time has arrived when you are to perform your final function in this case. But before you retire to discuss and decide on a verdict, it is my duty to instruct you as to the principles of law which apply. In this trial, the function of the court is to instruct the jury with respect to the principles of governing the case. The jury is required to accept and apply the law as stated by the court to the facts in this case. Counsels have, in their opening statement and their closing statements, commented upon the evidence to assist you in your deliberations. Their comments are not binding upon you because it is your recollection of the facts that controls. The burden of proof is on the plaintiff in this case to prove a violation of the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution or the thorough and efficient education clause of the New Jersey Constitution. To prove an allegation by a preponderance of the evidence, plaintiff must convince you that it is more likely true than not. You must ask yourself, as to each issue, which side has the better evidence. If the evidence on a particular issue is evenly or equally balanced, that issue has not been proven. An easy way to understand this is to picture a scale or a seesaw. If the weight on both sides is even, then the plaintiff has not met the requirement to prove their case. However, if it tips a little more to the plaintiff's side than the other, the plaintiff wins. The 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution says that no state may deny any person within its jurisdiction equal protection of the laws. In Brown versus Board of Education, the United States Supreme Court said that the 14th Amendment meant that separate schools for different races were illegal because they denied the equal protection of the laws. Article 8, Section 4, Paragraph 1 of the New Jersey Constitution guarantees that the state will provide a thorough and efficient system for public schools. In Abbott v. Burke, the New Jersey Supreme Court held that certain substandard conditions for urban schools violated that clause. The state Supreme Court held the legislature will have to provide more monies to those urban districts to remedy that violation. Your role in this is the 14th Amendment as interpreted by Brown versus Board of Education and the Thorough and Efficient Education Clause of the New Jersey State Constitution as interpreted by the New Jersey Supreme Court in Abbott v. Burke are the law of the land. Your role is not to question these decisions. Rather, it is to determine, based on the facts of this case, whether the plaintiff has proven a violation of either clause, and if so, what should the remedy be? You are to determine the facts from the testimony you heard from the witnesses. You will do this by judging which testimony can be believed or what probably happened. To help you in making this decision, I want to explain some legal principles. The evidence in a case can be direct evidence or circumstantial evidence. Let's say someone testified that they saw snow falling outside their window at night. If you believe them, that directly proves it snowed that night. But if that person testifies it was dry out when they went to bed, but in the morning there was snow on the ground, that is circumstantial evidence that it snowed that night. They didn't see it snow, but we still know it snowed just as surely as if the witness actually saw the snow fall. Both types of evidence, direct and circumstantial, are acceptable as proof in a case. Also, you have to decide if you believe each witness after observing their behavior while testifying. Consider if they favor one side or the other and their ability to see or hear what they say they heard or saw. You can believe all of what a witness said, some of it, or none of it. It's up to you. In other words, are you convinced by it and does it make sense? Under no circumstances should your deliberations be affected by any favoritism for a party or any prejudice against a party. Bias, passion, and sympathy may not influence your decision. Decide this case on the facts and law that I have given to you. You must decide the case amongst yourselves and listen to the opinions of your fellow jurors. However, in the end, each of you must decide the case for yourself. Your decision is important to both sides. Although your verdict may not be unanimous, you should try to agree on a verdict. Once you agree on the answers in the jury verdict form, that is your verdict. You can now retire to the hallway and deliberate. Thank you.
That was really good.
That's what I was trying to say.
Thoughts? Take one and pass it. Here's the jury verdict sheet. Thank you.
I think that scholarships, people in Lincoln don't have the advantage with the school program as people in Jefferson do, which makes it harder for scholarships for people in Lincoln than the Jefferson. The Jeffersons get more advantages in that case.
I say Plaintiffs, because they don't have enough funding for new labs and after-school programs, so.
Yeah, but then if they take away from the Jefferson side, then the people that already started and are already about to get scholarships.
Because then later they're going to be asking for more money from Lincoln.
Yeah, it doesn't have to give money. They should, people from at least people from Lincoln should be able to go to Jefferson. It said they were accepted.
I think
I think that the verdicts were the
The parents
defendants. Jefferson. Yeah.
So Jefferson not to give the money to.
Yeah. No, because then that's making them lose money.
Yeah.
That's making them lose money. That's
What did Jefferson have to give money away?
Yeah,
but
but
why does Jefferson do? And then why does Jefferson have to give the money? Why can't why could tax?
Yeah, and why can't they why can't they take money from a couple of the schools, not just Jefferson? Because if they take it just from Jefferson, then Jefferson is not going to have the money, and Jefferson's going to sink, and then it's going to repeat the cycle.
I think that it's actually, is it okay to say neither? Yeah. I think it's neither because instead it should be an equal balance between two, and so it wouldn't be taking away from the Jefferson students nor the Lincoln students.
Yeah, but the parents can still, if you want it,
Yes, like the mom said, work 2 jobs and work really hard.
I know,
Get
but
enough
not
money to go to Jefferson.
Some of the parents work 2 jobs.
But if they take money from Jefferson, they have higher taxes, so they'll get the money back. They have higher taxes. They add taxes, so they can just get a new test lab.
Hear me out here. What if we just combine the schools? Then you can pay both. And then you can make the building bigger so you can fit all the people. And then you can lower the taxes.
We can't do it.
Cost a lot of money.
Jefferson wants to do that. Jefferson wants to get that money.
Lincoln's money to
Lincoln didn't get that opportunity.
All right, let's all try. Hold on, everyone. Everyone read your verdict. Hold on, let me talk. Adult here. And you guys, this is exactly what would happen in jury, so I love it. And people would talk over each other, and that usually you would appoint a foreman, and they would sort of be in charge. But we don't have time for that today. Sometimes days they will sit and have these debates, which is awesome. And I like thinking outside the box. But everybody take a look at your verdict form, and those are the questions that you have to answer. And then why don't we, here's what we're going to do, because we are limited on time, is we're going to go around and everybody answer. I'm going to ask you what you think about question number 1, and you can answer yes or no. Then we can have maybe 2 minutes of debate, see if we can change anyone's mind. Then we'll go to question number 2. Same thing, then question number 3.
That's what I'm saying.
Sorry, I didn't even I'm like, when I look at this
They're ruining dreams. How dare
Yeah, and then I was in my and I was like, oh, he said it. He said it.
He's being chill. I'm not trying to. He took a I wasn't in the jury. Nope, you were on the good enough grade. Okay, that was also the year that I had 5 It wasn't even good. You should hold your fancy. Like 12 was that was actually only you weren't even there. Finally, horrific exercise, and I watched it. Still, I got in there because I was a victim.
I'd rather hear the argument.
Give me a
No, it's not.
Look at my
I know that I did okay, but I wish I did better.
He said,
All right, the jury has.
He's like,
So the jury has come to a decision. Thank you, sixth grade. This is not an easy case. This is not an easy issue. We all discussed, technically this wouldn't come as a civil case, this lawsuit, but the cases that were cited are real cases. And I just heard, when I was getting out of the car, a news clip that there were arguments today on an urban school in New Jersey saying that it was not funded properly. So this is going on every day. Morrisville faces it, trying to merge with Pennsbury. Like, it's a constant issue. So there's no right or wrong answer. And these students, you guys did really good. I'm really proud of you. There were many facts that I expected plaintiff's side to maybe pull out, and they decided not to, which I think was a very good strategic move. And you guys defended very well. And when they first read the case, we kind of said, like, what's everyone think? And almost everyone was for plaintiffs. So then we had to challenge some of them to put on a different hat, and which we as lawyers do all the time, and you guys did an incredible job. I'll add one last thing is that check we write, the public speaking of our students. You guys are better than a lot of attorneys I see in the courtroom. And I commend Holy Trinity School because they've been doing it since pre-K. So really good job. I'll turn it over to you briefly.
Before we get to the jury's decision there, I know, yes, it's always me between the ending somehow, I get to that part. But in all honesty, it's been now 6 years. I can't believe that's how long it's been. And I think in the 6 years, that you had the hardest case of all with the fact pattern. We've been through a lot of different fact patterns, a lot of interesting ones, relevant ones, and as Mrs. Martin was just saying, so you all did a great job, 7th and 8th graders, and 7th graders who are on here. I hope we see you again in 8th grade moving up. And our jury members, as we were out there, they could go on and on for days. Great discussion. We'd love to see you join next year. And just personally, again, special thanks to our parent volunteers. I think, they give their time, they work, and then come at 4 o'clock every week and for weeks go on. And I know the last few days and weeks have been meeting at lunch and throwing extra time in meeting and coaching. So special thanks to Mr. Halloran for all of his help, Mrs. Martin for all of her help, Donegal, and Mr. Ms. G, and I know there's a bunch of teachers here, so I do thank them for joining us and being part of it. And our parents for joining us today, we thank you. It's just so nice to be back together again. And I know some people are joining us at home too, and our 21st century reps are probably watching, so thanks to them and all the parents tuning in at home. So great job, everyone, and without further ado, I'll pass it back for...
Credit the 6th grade. They knew the issues.
Yes,
there were very passionate arguments on both sides, mature discussions. They were able to share. They wanted to keep going, but we don't have enough time. So, answer to question number 1 that was given to the jury. Did the defendants violate the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution or the thorough and efficient education clause of the New Jersey Constitution by failing to equally fund Abraham Lincoln High School and Jefferson High School? 7 of them said yes. The remainder of them said no. Answer number 2. Should the remedy for the violation found in question be, number one, be to equalize the funding between students between all high schools in New Jersey? 2 answered yes, the rest answered no. Finally, should the remedy for the violation found in question 1 be to allow students at Abraham Lincoln High School to attend Thomas Jefferson High School or any other high school in the county in which has sufficient space? 20 out of the 21 answered yes. So we really have no answers, except it's a tough issue. You guys did an amazing job presenting your cases. If we could let 6th grade go, they would have gone all day. So thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.